All right, so this is being recorded if they're just so that way you know. So it will be sent out for those people that were unable to make it so that they can watch as well. So this is the Cashflow Canvas, a certification program for bookkeepers and accountants. It is absolutely amazing. I am a certified um, Cashflow Canvas coach, and as well as I am working with Tanya, the founder of it, to help promote to the accounting professional side. Her connections and whatnot are more on the business development side. And so we're doing this. And Richard is with me, who is my business coach, and we partner together on a lot of things. And so Richard and I are combined presenting or offering this out through the for the bookkeepers. So just to be clear up front, we are basically an affiliate working with the Cashflow Canvas. So we are not doing anything our own. It is all trademarked information under them. And again, it's more affiliate. We're bringing it in. And because I am a bookkeeper myself, I am actually going through with Tanya to train the bookkeepers, but I'm able to speak the same speak that we all speak, which is why I'm here doing this today and not Tanya. Um, okay, so this program will help us become the financial coach that founders trust. It really does bring us into advisory, and we're going to go through some of this. And of course, we'll be able to stop for questions as we go through. So, from technician to trusted advisor, most bookkeepers, we're not seen for who we are. I am so sick and tired of hearing we're just a bookkeeper. We're just a bookkeeper. We just do data entry. We've been hearing it for years. It has not been true for years. At one point, we were only because we were working with data that was so old, we were not in a position to help and be proactive and help in the moment. Thanks to technology, we are in this position that we can now do that and help for that. But what's happening is we're still being undervalued, we're still being underpaid, we're not getting recognized for the expertise that we have. We work in the details. We just, again, we have so much help that we can offer to clients in the moment now. And it's not just on the financial, it's so many other things. We are the bookkeeper, we are their computer tech person, we are the business coach. And to be very honest, I am tired. I'm just going to throw it out there and just be blunt. I am tired of working with businesses and doing their bookkeeping and think I'm showing my value, think that I'm offering the proper advisory services, and then all of a sudden I see $1,000 a month, a new bill come in for $1,000 a month to a business coach that's going through stuff that I have gone through, but I have not been a good enough salesperson or confident enough salesperson to step over that boundary. So this does it beautifully without us having to jump into a sales position type role. It just walks them through it, and I absolutely love it. So, yeah, it really, really, really helps us show our value and, scale our practice with purpose, essentially. So, this program is for you if you are 2+ years in business. You're running a solo or small but mighty team. You're confident in QBO or zero, but you're tired of being stuck in the books. We're passionate about helping founders. Now, I will say a lot of this, so these are not my slides. These slides are what Tanya has pulled together. And she refers to small business owners as founders. So whenever you see founders, it's just type in the small business owner, put back and forth, and I may intermix the two phrases, but that's basically what it means. She prefers to call them founders. But for are we passionate about helping them connect the dots when it comes to their numbers? And are we craving more impact, more income, and more respect for our work? I know that's still me, and I think this is most of us. So introducing the Cashflow Canvas. It is a brilliant 3-part process that helps business owners master the art of building a profitable budget. It is their yellow brick road to the bank and beyond. So we're going to just do a quick overview of the process. What this is we walk them through. So you can do many different styles of the coaching, and that comes a little bit later. But essentially, I prefer to work in groups. And so what we do is the first part, we're learning the landscape. And basically, what this means is that we're teaching them. Here's the important stuff. There's 8 building blocks which build their profit and loss. So we break it down. You'll see it's color coded. Tanya, and so she is Tanya. So again, I'm not talking about myself in third party. She is a Tanya as well, another Canadian Tanya. There's 2 of us. Anyway, she ran a business and she claimed bankruptcy in 2009. She claimed bankruptcy and she says, I don't understand. I did everything right. Why did I claim bankruptcy? Why did that happen? So she was so stuck on that. She went back to school and she studied neuroeconomics. And neuroeconomics is the behavioral science behind finance. And so it's the reasons why we do the things we do. So that's not what we've been taught in the industry. That's not what our clients have been taught. And so this is so unique. And to be very honest, I've spent over $20,000 in my time trying to learn. I mean, I've mentored under, Jeannie Whitehouse, and I walked away with excellent tools from Jeannie on the advisory, but it was very different. Nothing out of all the money that I've invested has actually enabled me to really, truly have an actual conversation other than sell more, spend less. You're going to be bankrupt in 6 months. Very blunt. I've not been able to explain it in a way that the founder gets. So this essentially is like a third language in between. And I'm able to now do this, which is why I'm so very excited about all of this. And I will let you know up front, those who don't know me and who have not been on any of my webinars, I have a lot of energy. And so I am forcing myself to try to stay calm. There may be spurts of energy that come out, but just, hey, that's just how excited I am about this whole process and everything. But I will do my best to stay calm. And I know Richard, who is my business coach as well, is in here. And if I get a little too high energy or too fast, he'll slow me down too. Anyway, uh, back on track now. So that again, the behavioral science is behind it. And so there's a palette and a color key, and the color coding helps them visually. There is again a neuroeconomic behind it, or the neuroscience behind it, that it's easier to color code things. So she's got it broken down into 8 colors. Then there's loading the palette, which is essentially a sketchbook. We brain dump into the sketchbook, or as the business owner, we help them brain dump into the sketchbook. We help them refine to the back of the palette here. And then we just move and we fill the forecast, which is a spreadsheet, which is color coded as well. So all they have to do is follow the colors, which is beautiful and so easy to work through. Here's the 8 building blocks that we go through. So we're all pros on the call. I'm not going to go through each of these in detail as to what they cover. But essentially this is what we walk through with our founders and small business owners that don't have the understanding of these 8 building blocks and what they cover. So week 1, we start revenue stream. So this is a reverse engineer of it. Most budgets and business plans, they throw in, here's the numbers I want to attain, here's this, or they spend first and they're hoping to get those sales. So we're working backwards in a few different ways, and I'll get into that more a little bit later. But we start with revenue streams. And what we do is, depending on if you're doing one-on-one, if you're doing, a 3-hour call, I prefer the 10-week trainings because they can actually get work done on the call and can walk away with something completed versus, some of the smaller ones, there's more homework involved. And I know DIYers don't do the homework. The stats are just there. So we walk through their top 3 revenue streams and help them understand what their top sellers are. We then work into the direct costs involved in it. And direct costs is not just what we know as direct costs, which is your material input, subcontractors, your direct labor. There's also a direct cost B that we help that small business owner understand, which is one of the Bermuda Triangle of lost income. And so what that is, the direct cost B is we're already paying for labor of somebody who comes under team and personnel. They're on salary. They're being paid to be here, but how much time are they putting into that product directly? So the founders or small business owners need to understand both sides of the direct costs. One is not included in the budget, but it is included in helping them determine what price they need to charge. And that's where most people are wrong on that is they only take the traditional direct costs instead of the other ones. And so their gross profit margin is not what's expected. And they're always like, well, where's the money always going? Well, there's a hidden piece of it. Then we move into the pricing. The pricing, and those of you that know me know that I mean I studied under Ron Baker in 2015 for a year. I mentored under him. It was absolutely amazing. And I've been teaching on pricing. I don't teach my the way I price is not the way he taught. He and I agreed to disagree on a lot. Um, but I've been teaching pricing strategies to the accounting profession and to my small business owners, for a decade now. But this brought in what's called weighted price averaging, which many of us kind of know that when we're, if you're breaking down projects or something like that. But this is really interesting. In the way this breaks it down is we have our small business owners actually write down why their service rocks, what's really good about it, and then source out their competition and then compare their price to what their competition offers. And what I've been finding is the small business owners that I'm working with, and even the bookkeepers that I've worked with as well, when I've walked them through some of this, is that we are charging dollar store pricing and offering, and Neiman and Marcus or whoever, offering a high end value. And so we're undercutting ourselves. And so within this here alone, it actually leads into a whole other advisory service of, marketing. And it actually will give the client a marketing plan. Very cool. Anyway, then we move into the assumptions, which is when the money is coming in and when it hits the cash flow, because we all know that, you know what? Hey, if I sell 50 grand this month, it's good. But if I'm not getting the money for, 120 days, it doesn't help the cash flow. This forces the clients to start to understand they can't look at sales. They need to look at when the money comes in to make sure that they've got the money in there to balance their bank account so that they're not constantly going into their line of credit. Then we move into the expenses. Expenses is broken down into four main costs. Your team and personnel, which now we're going to get into them and start talking with them about here's the benefits, here's what you need to pay out your source deductions or your government remittances, your workers' comp, all of these extra things, because most business owners think, well, I pay somebody 30 bucks an hour, that's what I'm paying them. We know there's a lot more involved in that. What about recruiting, training? This will help to again build on advisory side of things to help the clients maybe work things out so that they can keep their employees better when they realize the cost of recruiting and training is not worth it if they, instead of just putting a little bit more into keeping their employees happy. We work into space and operating, marketing and sales costs. This is where the space and operating and marketing and sales, this is where I'm able to find with the clients that we can cut back on the cost without affecting the quality. And then, oops, and then there's the other cost, all right, which is now let's include the cost of, paying back the funds, your credit cards, all of this. And a lot of people still leave that out of their budget. And it's like, oh yeah, I've got this loan to pay back, or, I've got my credit card or my line of credit. I'm carrying a balance. I need to include that. And so that's where things are left out as well. The traditional budgeting is smoke and mirrors. So this is where the cash flow canvas does a reverse engineering. And I'm just gonna, oh, we don't have lots of people on camera, so I can't see the hands, but I would love to see in the chat how many of us have either done this ourselves, heard this from accountants, said this to clients, heard this from other clients, anything like that. You know, we've got to, you build the budget and you're putting in, it's where do you want to get your sales? Like, here's what we're going to get. You're going to hit $100,000 in sales this year. First year in business, you're going to hit 100,000. Well, how am I going to hit 100,000? It Then they're like, well, here's a marketing plan to get that. But you don't know how attainable that is. I know I hear that all the time from accountants, and we work very closely with a small business center here locally that does that. And that's the way they do that. They say, well, you know what? If you do this marketing and you work hard, you'll be able to hit 100,000 easily your first year. But then what happens when they don't get it? You're completely devastated because you set yourself up for failure. So, this reverse engineering of the budget works best with business owners who have been in business 2 years. There are absolutely ways that we can do it with starting businesses as well too, but it works with the actual numbers. Break down the actual numbers and say, okay, here's what you can change to your budget now to make you profitable, and again, that comes into the Bermuda Triangle, which is generally the direct cost B, the team and personnel, and the pricing, which is the weighted pricing averaging. All of that stuff in there, they can make big changes by making minor tweaks. Then they're starting with that. Then we look at like the historical. If history says you have gone up 10% a year, let's do a 10% a year increase then. Let's assume next year you'll do 10%. Let's not say we're going to do 50% because I don't know. And I'm just gonna, I had a client once, he was a tax client, and he called me and he says, we're gonna be millionaires together. And I said, okay, why? And this is when I lived in Barrie, Ontario, and Barrie had a population of 250,000 at that time. And he said, Tanya, he says, I am going to hem pants. And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the big reveal. And he says, I've got a sewing machine. I know how to sew. My wife taught me to sew. I've been laid off from my factory job, and I'm going to hem pants. There's 250,000 people in Barrie. Everybody has two legs, and they all have 3 to 4 sets of pants that all need hemming, and we're going to be millionaires in a year. Well, I don't think he ever made enough money to pay off the sewing machine. But we hear that all the time. That's where the smoke and mirrors come. So we need to look at actual. We need to source out real, true numbers so that we're excited when we're like, yes, we hit it. We hit our target because it was built on something that was actual. And that's what I really, really love about this. Um, and working backwards with actual numbers equals success. My brain reverse engineers just in general. And this is the big reason why I have had such difficulty up until now, because I've been trying to do it the traditional way. And anybody who knows me, I am not a traditional person. I love to try to break things. If you tell me this is the way it has to be done, I'm going to prove you wrong. I just like to do that. I love proving people wrong. If I didn't do this, actually, what I wanted to do initially, I wanted to either be a counselor and help people, not a psychiatrist, but a counselor because I felt they did more help with people, or I wanted to be a trial lawyer because I love to argue and tell people admit that I'm right. And this is kind of a nice little balance in between. But the working backwards with the actual numbers, like I say, it makes sense to me. And now I have the tools and the confidence and the wording and a process to be able to work with the clients in a way that makes sense instead of just saying, hey, you know what? Sorry, it sucks, type of thing, or you're going to be bankrupt in 6 months. It actually gives me that vocabulary to be able to work with them. And if I work them through the process, the way it's built, it is so beautiful. I just have to coach them through it and then hold my hands out and catch them when they fall. When they fall, I can say, okay, are you ready to dig in? I don't have to convince them of anything because this process, it glaringly brings it out and they've come up with it themselves, which is absolutely awesome. I'm going to stop sharing. We're going to just take a break for a moment, see if there's any questions. Um, and no, there's no questions yet in here. Does anybody, want to come on? I would, you know what, Nicole, I would love your opinion on this so far. And I'm going to put you on the spot. So Nicole has actually been through one of my trainings for a small business founder. And something that Nicole said to me, Nicole's an accountant. I thought this was just for bookkeepers. So Nicole, I would love for you to share with everybody what it was that you said to me that you liked about this.
I liked it because normally I report directly to the CFO or the president or the board. So a lot of the stuff in here is the managerial and cost accounting that I have to do to break down to reports to present to the board. And I like it because I can't really, because I only deal with the executives, I'm horrible at dealing with small businesses for presentations because I expect them to know all this stuff and they don't. And I like it because you can break it down to a level where they can understand and they don't have to panic when they see numbers because you kind of break it down and explain it to them. You do it in chunks and you can explain it to them in a better way where it's I'm doing the same thing, but it's on a level you break it down where everyone can understand because I'm like I can use this for that the marketing directors and all the other because they don't understand. So I really like that because it is managerial and cost accounting, but
It
it's
is.
broken down on a level where everyone can understand.
And it was actually on the call that Nicole was on that as we were going through, and Nicole was in my first my alpha test, shall we say, of the cohorts of a 10-week session on it. And it was on there that it just hit me, and I think I just blurted it out. I went, "Oh my God, this is cost accounting." As a bookkeeper, we're not trained on that, but it gave me the confidence. And I'm like, wow, this is cost accounting. This is management accounting. This is what CMAs do. And I've known that bookkeepers have a lot of the knowledge to do that, but it was just really eye-opening when I correlated the two together with that. So thank you, Nicole, for that. All right. I see there's no more questions. So I don't know, Sandra or Richard, did you guys have anything you wanted to add before I move on to a few more slides?
Not a thing.
No? Awesome. All right. Again, oh, sorry, Sandra.
Doesn't really matter. I was just gonna say, as somebody who's actually been through the certification, um, Tanya made it really easy to actually go through the steps. So like not only am I feeling more confident about having those conversations as well, but I feel like when you go through the 8 building blocks and the way it's laid out, the numbers are just staring you right in the face, right? So as Tanya said, you don't have to like try to convince your clients of what they're doing or what they need to do to get to see the future, but it's just right there. It makes it very, very easy, and it's just like 3 easy steps to kind of walk them through and to bring them to the end, to that path of getting home and having a retirement and seeing what their business really can do for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when the first Tanya Sanders spoke about was the other Tanya. It gets confusing. So the other Tanya ran that certification. I am in training to run the certifications. This next group in September that we're starting September 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern, that next group of certifications will be with me on the call, observing, adding a little bit. I'm probably 20%, where it's 80% the other Tanya. And then the one after that I'll be stepping more in, and Tanya will be stepping more back out again because I speak Accountanese and she doesn't. So makes it a lot easier for that. And of course, I've implemented this into my own business and I'm working with this practically with my own business. So again, it just makes it easier to talk Accountanese we're doing the same thing. Anyway, okay. We'll go back to the screen share. So thank you for that, Sandra. Okay, so with this, again, we help founders find their power. So, who is this better for or ideal for as a business owner or a founder? So, again, somebody that's been 2+ years in business. Now, again, we talked about it. We were just on a call an hour or so ago that we talked about ways that we can do this for new businesses. The reason why we say 2+ years in business is because, again, to do a proper reverse engineer, we are working with actual numbers. So they have 2 years of numbers, and we're able to take a look and see what a growth or pattern is year over year. So that's why it's 2+ years. It doesn't mean there's not ways that we can do it for startups or people that are newer in business. We have wonderful tools these days, and perplexity.ai is what I use with the clients that I've been working with that have less than 2 years in business. And I've used that through one of the certifications as well. When we hit the weighted price averaging, we've got to do a little bit of research. So I tell people to go in and use Perplexity. And we choose Perplexity over ChatGPT in case anybody's wondering, because Perplexity is a research tool. It will show the research, it'll show the sources, and it will only use what it has found versus ChatGPT, which is meant to be more creative. So employee or founders with less than 5 employees. If they have more, it can still be done. Absolutely. It's just a little bit easier with less than 5 employees. If they have more than 5 employees, that's great. You're working with a good client, and they're going to need more than the 10 weeks, which is wonderful for you because you get to do more advisory, right? Um, Less than 1 million in annual revenue. Again, it's helping build. Again, it doesn't mean you can't use this. Nicole's been through it. She, now sees that there's probably ways to do it with larger companies as well. Now, that said, is there software that larger companies are using that might work a little bit better? Sure. But you still want people to understand. That CFO still needs to understand. But if you've got a company that large, maybe that CFO already took management accounting. So that's kind of the only reason why those are in there. Across any industry. We have a retail that I've worked with so far is a retail store that is a franchise who does not have a lot of control over the amount of stock they have or the prices they charge to, bookkeepers, where sometimes we charge hourly, we're fixed fees, and it's just all over the place because I don't have two clients that are the same to, to manufacturing companies. And when we go through the certification, we actually are put into groups with different industries that we use Perplexity to, again, do some research to fill in the blanks so that we understand what it's like to work with different industries, as well as simultaneously doing our own books so that we understand the numbers as well too. Somebody that's, again, cash flow positive or bottom line broke, doesn't matter. We'll be able to go through and they'll be able to understand. Small price, small paycheck, small net profit. Perfect for that because we're going to be able to help them, figure out how to make these small, easy changes to be able to increase their net profit. So just some numbers to share. Cashflow Canvas has supported over 11,000 small businesses in North America. There were 80 certified cash flow canvas coaches. There are now 94. So we've got, out of the 80, there was only 4 of us that were bookkeepers. So right now we get to come in at the what's the word, Richard? The floor of a new market. I don't know. We're at the beginning. Anyway, we're at the beginning of what is going to be a huge growth phase with this. And because most of those certified cash flow canvas coaches are actually small business developers. So they're working for, your local small business resource company, or they're working for lenders, or something like that. We just did the first bookkeeper only group, or accounting professional only group. I think we were all bookkeepers though, of 14. So I was on there. That was my first training to train the trainer. But there was 14 that just came through that, and that was Sandra came through that one. And there's 271 champions of the cash flow canvas. So what a champion means, those are lenders, educators, and economic developers. So out of those, the champs, they're people that aren't certified to do the training, but have it on their website and say, here's where you need to go. Here's where you can find people that do this. Some of the champs, let me just go to her website to let's see, Google. I thought I had a slide for this, so nail the numbers. Cash flow canvas. I can't spell. So we've got the cash flow canvas champs. So we've got Arizona, it's Growth Partners Arizona, Business Link, Opus, So there's some across the bottom. ATB Financial, which is one of the big banks in Alberta. It's Alberta Treasury Branch Financial. Arizona, Local First Arizona, the First Nations University of Canada, MacEwan University, City of Airdrie. There's the City of Canmore, University of Saskatchewan. You're going to see there's a lot of Western ones, and that's actually because Tanya actually lives in Saskatchewan, and that's where her contacts are. So, which is Western Canada. So she's hit Western Canada and Western Alberta. But there's a lot of champs in here that are doing it. So we BC is the Women's Entrepreneurs of BC. There's credit unions. So there's a lot of them. Community Futures, BDC Canada for anybody here might know who they are. They are our biggest business development Canada, and it's actually a government run, but that's where the government will offer financing and whatnot, and they are actually our biggest bank, and so they offer it, or they're champs of it. I just also want to show here coaches canvas. Thought we had a thing here for the coaches. There is actually, if you get certified, Cashflow Canvas coaches. And I'm sorry that I don't have these slides. This is my first time presenting on these, and this just popped in that we should be showing this. So here is this. So if somebody is a champ, they actually say, hey, here's where you go to find the coach. Tanya's not interested in coaching the small businesses unless it's in large groups. So she will go in and she will do large groups of them, but she wants to coach the coaches. She doesn't want to coach the small businesses. She wants to give us the opportunity to coach the small businesses. So here is right now the small business coaches that, although there's 94, these are the ones that are actively kind of advertising ourselves on her site, type of thing. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's me, 10. There's 11 of us on here. Now we're not putting Sandra on because I'm on here. So Sandra won't necessarily be on, but there's 11 of us on here that are confident and comfortable enough to say, yes, we want to be on your site. We want to do it. Everybody else is, kind of waiting and working through it. They've either got their own business plan or they're trying to get confident enough to go on here. Because if you're on this page, this means if any one of those Arizona Firsts or BDC Canadas send us a large group or send us everything, we say, yep, we're good to go. Let's go in and start trading. So there's obviously other revenue opportunities from that. Okay, so let's get back to this. So how the certification works is it's a live online 10-week training program, an hour and a half each week, that gives you everything you need to coach with confidence. So it's an hour and a half weekly to learn all 8 building blocks and the 3 steps. We learn to guide the founders step by step through the process. And this is where I love what we're doing. We are truly guiding them. They are doing the work, which is why they come up with their own numbers. And if I were to tell them the same thing they come out with, they wouldn't believe me. But they come up with the numbers themselves. So therefore, they have to believe it because it's right there and they came up with them. We get experience with the coaching tools and demo kits by working through with some in groups with some fake companies. We can access the plug and play promotional material and join a growing community of Cashflow Canvas certified coaches. What you also get from this, it includes unlimited founder enrollments into the Cashflow Canvas Blueprint. So what this is the DIY. It's $90 value, and it's the DIY portion of it. It's an on-demand and evergreen step-by-step tutorials, stocked toolkit, progress tracking, and on-call support button. So our clients aren't necessarily coming back to us. So you can just put this out there, sell them this, sign them up, and boom, walk away. You can make 90 bucks off that. They've done nothing. They're not asking you for anything. This isn't where I really do. This is just, it's an upsell for me. And there's a virtual peer community and they do get a certificate of completion. You don't pay Cashflow Canvas. Cashflow Canvas doesn't charge the clients and then pay you. You bill the client directly. You put the client through. So we're not waiting for income to come through either, which is really good. The bonuses that we get is a bank account and fund allocation. A little bit like another, it starts with PF. I'm not going to say the name of it. A little bit with that, but with less bank accounts. And we don't work with percentages for the fund allocation, but it helps clients basically save aside money that they're going to need to pay out later. A chart of accounts and book calibration tools, a financially fierce Friday call, and a coach's check-in call. So that means she does this. We don't pay extra for this. Like, I absolutely love Tanya's energy, and I've worked with her on things before, which is why I was so happy to partner with her for this. But we get to go on that just completely for free. That is to support us, to help support the clients. We also then get a personal budget 5-day challenge, the wake up call. All of our clients get this as well too. It's a $990 value for anybody to go through it. It's completely free for us, completely free for our clients, so we can use that as an upsell for them. But what that does is that reverse engineers the personal budget. So it says, okay, we've worked out your business, what your business needs to do. Let's now take a look at your personal budget and see what you need to get out of your business to hit your retirement or your end goals. So that way you can do the personal savings. So it brings it full circle, which is absolutely wonderful. And I've been through it 3 times. As things change, I go through and I just let my clients know that yes, they can go through. I'll just, when they let me know, I'll just give them my new code to get them signed up for that. So the delivery models, how can you deliver it? So first off, the Cashflow Canvas, the palette and color key is free for all founders to download. So Tanya has that set up on her website, which you can certainly go and take a look on her website. It is just Google Cashflow Canvas under Nail the Numbers. I have gone a separate step because as a bookkeeper who is offering this, I'm offering this as a separate service offering. I'm offering it as a separate marketing. I don't want to use this. That's me personally. I don't want to use this to fill my bookkeeping slots because we are very particular as to who we work with on bookkeeping. So if you guys want to go, Sandra, if you can maybe put the website in the chat, it's cashflowcoach.co. That is my website that I've designed as a somebody who's certified. I do have, I've got, I guess, rules that I have to work in to keep the marketing, very consistent. So I've had Tanya take a look at it. She's approved it. And there again, I do say, hey, you want to download this for free to check it out. And then what happens is anybody who signs up to download that and access it for free, we actually then get monthly a list of all of those people so that we can then follow up with them. Hey, I see you did this. You were on my website. You downloaded it. Have you, how far have you worked through? Although we can see how far they work through, but to try and do an upsell because DIYs, only 20% of people that do anything DIY complete it. So we want to do that. It gives us the opportunity to follow up with them. So that's option 1. We can send it out there that the founder can coach themselves. Option 2, we can coach. We can coach your founder. So when I'm saying we, I'm saying yes, myself, Cloud Business Services. Can you, Sandra, put in there as well the site? So small businesses will go to Cashflow Coach. Can you put in the Bookkeepers Bootcamp / Cashflow Canvas? So that is where I have it. If you're like, hey, I want to make some money off this. I don't have time to certify. I don't want to certify now, but I want to make some affiliate commission. We would have an affiliate agreement that says, I'm not going to talk to them about anything other than this. You would then get a specific code so that I know I do not follow up on this. And we will have a signed agreement that promises I will not try to sell to your clients at all. So you don't need to worry about that. But that code, you can give that out to anybody. You earn 25% affiliate commission, and your small business owner or founder can save 5%. And that's on the group cohorts. And so that's $990 per founder. Or option 3, which is probably what most of us are here and curious about, is you get trained and certified to coach your founders. You can do one-on-one coaching, you can do boot camps, you can do group cohorts. I've kind of worked with each of them and I'm comfortable in the groups right now, but that's me. Sandra has no urge to really do groups, although she's helping in the groups and whatnot. She feels right now she might be more for the one-on-one. But you know what? her mind may change as she starts working through it. But you get to offer it out how you want to offer it out, which is great. And that's a one-time fee of $29.90. There is only an annual cost of $290 to recertify every single year. So that's, $290 US if you're US, and $29.90 US, for the one-time cost. There are no additional fees, which is absolutely awesome. Here is just a sample coaching revenue projection. So this is not an income claim, but this is a sample of what you could do. So year one, if you did one-on-one, you did 30 hours of one-on-one, you did one cohort of 12 people, and you did 0 boot camps. So the boot camps, they're fast and furious. They're essentially 3 hours, everything in 3 hours. So I think that's way too much, and it relies on people to do their homework. It doesn't happen that way. So I've crossed those out completely, from us. But if you did that, year one is $16,000 revenue. Year two, you're doing 15 hours additional, or you're doing 15 hours. You're more comfortable with the cohort. So you're doing 3 cohorts and 2 boot camps. That's $41,000 of revenue. Year three, you're doing 10 hours of one-on-one, again, getting more comfortable with the cohorts and the group coaching. That's 54,000. So there is a huge, huge opportunity here. I am just going to stop right now. And we're just going to see if anybody's got any comments or any questions on this so far. I do see something in the Q&A. Yeah, Samantha, I love Perplexity. It's the AI that you use. Absolutely. And when I'm working with the founders, that's actually what we pull up. And I tell them we're going to use Perplexity in the research portion. And this is why, because it is based on fact and not creative, which is great. So that's awesome. And then let's just look through the chat here. Okay, yeah, nothing there. So does anybody have any questions, any thoughts? Like, Richard, this is the first time you're seeing this. I would love to hear, as a business coach yourself, like, what do you think about these? Like, is it
Well, first of all,
realistic? Is it?
the flow is amazing. The ability to understand this is also quite clear. I'm quite happy with the way this course is going. It it feels like it's doable and not just aspirational.
And that's the difference. And I do not put my name behind things. I mean, again, everybody's here because they saw me somewhere or saw Richard. And if you know Richard, you're there from that. You probably still know of me. I do not put my name behind things that I do not use and that are not attainable, because that is my reputation. That is everything. And this is it. It is attainable. It is this. I am changing the whole format of my business, that I want to do 80% of my business is going to be this. It's We'll talk in a couple of years. It is going to be a slow move over because I've got to get things in process, but that's where I want to go. We have advisory boards that, I was asking Richard, are they big in the US? And he said they are. I didn't even think about this. And this week I had an advisory board coach, I guess, reach out. She's got 20 advisory boards. She wants me to come in and do this for each one of them. Like, this is huge. Absolutely huge. And so I'm like, all right, now I need to get in there, and now I need to know who I need to target, because they're spending money to try, they've got money to spend on things, so that this way it's going to free me up to do some more of the pro bono. So just a call that Richard was on last time with me, we've got one of the clients who started a completely free, it costs him, but he does not charge anything, a young entrepreneurs club, um, or association. And it's filled with mostly immigrants. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go, but they have aspirations. They want to hit the North American dream, but they don't know how to do it. And so I'd love to be able to come in and offer this type of training and coaching completely for free to them. And I can do that when I've got advisory boards paying me to come in and work with them. So yeah, very exciting. Okay. No other comments. If people do have comments and questions, please feel free to throw it in there. And otherwise, we will go back to the slides.
Tanya, we had somebody say that the chat was disabled earlier, and I have
Oh,
been seeking out how to turn it on. I also can't make Sandra a co-host, and she's much more familiar with the webinar version. I'm sorry
you
to
know what?
interrupt, but could you please make her a co-host? Because I am
Absolutely.
struggling back here.
Absolutely. Thank you. I believe that, where is that? Okay, so Sandra's co-host. I believe, oh shoot. Sandra, can you sign in while I keep going? Can you sign in into the back end to the support and see if there's anything? Can I get you to do that tech for me, please?
Yeah, I can try that, but I might have to leave and then come back in as support, but that's fine. I can do that.
Okay. I'll keep an eye when you come back then, or to make you co-host. Perfect. Okay, thank you. So hopefully we'll get that disabled. Thank you. I didn't even see that. I saw the second part of it, not the first part. So I'm so sorry, Samantha. Thank you, Richard, for pointing that out.
No, it's okay. I was trying to get your attention in the chat and you were busy. It's quite all right.
It's over here, but at least we know that I'm stopping every little bit to to deal with live things. This is why Richard and I make such a great team. Love working with them. Anyway, okay. So how is the cash flow canvas different? It's not about allocating the income, or it's not just about allocating the income. It's about planning for profit before the first dollar is made. So it's building from real numbers, not generic benchmarks. And that is what makes the difference. It helps you set a financial strategy with the founder. So again, once we dig in, you can start getting into all these different strategic things, which again leads into a whole area of advisory, which I have another deck of slides that you're going to see exactly what I have come up with from the first coaching one that actually Nicole was a part of. All the extra advisory opportunities that came out of that were just unbelievable. And so that was a free one. It was most, again, it was, I needed to get comfortable with it. So those did not turn into actual advisory calls because those were our community that came in to help me with that. But I've been able to make these notes so that this next one that I'm going through right now, that I am talking about that with the small business owners. But it integrates the personal goals, the retirement needs, and the behavioral finance. And it's the behavioral that we have never even thought about or brought into it, and it makes budgeting visual and not overwhelming. And there is a Wizard of Oz theme through it. And so the Ozodry makes it fun. So in what I do, I've really embraced it because I am a fun, sometimes over the top, energetic person. But I really, really did embrace it because most people that come and take my stuff, they expect that of me. They expect a little bit extra energy and fun from it. So I've really embraced it. But yeah, the Ozodry makes it fun. So what are some of the peers saying? So these are accounting professionals who have gone through it. This made advisory feel doable and even fun. It gave me a roadmap to start real conversations with clients about growth. This methodology isn't just effective, it's transformational. I'm so excited to help other accounting professionals learn how to have better conversations and to make a bigger impact from their clients. That one's my quote. We know how to talk to CFOs. The Cashflow Canvas taught us how to talk to founders. Oh, looks like I've got to fix that slide. That was Nicole's quote. And the Cashflow Canvas gave me the confidence to step beyond compliance and to speak the language of strategy. So again, we've kind of gone through, the high level overview of what the certification includes. So a deeper dive of it, you get the Cashflow Canvas palette and color key, the sketchbook, the forecast, the startup cost calculator, a direct cost calculator, the debt repayment calculator. That is freaking awesome. I just have to say it. She's got it set up and it really shows people how much interest they're paying. And she's got in the back end, if you have ways to pick, do you pick, pay off the highest interest first? Do you pay off the highest balance first? What do you do? And it actually very quickly, with a click of a button, shows them the difference that they're going to pay in interest based on the different methods. So again, it's going to help them get to debt free sooner. And in some of the situations that I've worked through with real life situations of people that joined my alpha call, because I did have some small businesses on there as well, it made a difference of, I want to say it was just under 12, it was 11,000 and change, that it made a difference if they paid it back a different way than they thought they could pay it back. And it actually showed them how. So again, this is like huge for the advisory. We get the presentation tools, 5 demo tools, the promotional tools. So what the promotional tools are, these are like the cue cards. These are social media posts that we can put out there so that we can start to do that, and she's working on creating even more of them. There's a rockin' playlist. I've not listened to the playlist yet because I'm very particular about my genres of music, but there is a rockin' Spotify playlist on that. We get unlimited founder enrollments in the Cashflow Canvas training portal. And again, we are the ones enrolling them. We invoice our clients, we enroll them. One wake up call quick hit boot camp. So that is where we go in, that's the 5-day wake up call with a little bit more detail in it so that we can, again, help explain it to our clients, and unlimited founder enrollments in the Wake Up Call 5-day challenge. So what I do is I again use that as a selling tool. I'm like, hey, great, you sign up for this. The value of it, and you guys can see that on my website, is, X number of dollars, and you get all of that for $9.90. Plus, when you register now, you get an additional $990 value completely free, right? It's like, wait, there's more. It's one of those type of things, which is great. Plus, if you sign up through Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp, the special one, which again, you still get her. This is the one that Richard and I are pulling together. What you get that is additional that I am providing is we get to learn from myself as a co-trainer. I will be doing the training directly, probably for the January cohort. But otherwise, I will be on with Tanya. I've created a done for you marketing toolkit that you guys get as well, which has post session follow up email sequences, client upsell frameworks, implementation guides, and I got all excited. And my big thing this past year is writing ebooks. I found a beautiful ebook outline. And so I take an idea and I work with ChatGPT as my copy editor. And I just talk to it, I brain dump and create an ebook. So I've created several email marketing ebooks, which is the ultimate sales course, or the ultimate course sales checklist, Cashflow Canvas Bookkeeper Edition, the ultimate email marketing checklist, Cashflow Canvas Bookkeeper Edition, the email guide and sequence, or email template and sequence guide, selling and marketing online courses, and the ultimate guide to selling courses through email marketing, Cashflow Canvas Bookkeeper Edition. So it's all based around here, so that there's the emails that I'm using, the templates, the sequencing, all of this to be able to actually get yourself set up for success. So when you sign up through me, you get all of that as well. So what's next? Step into your power and apply to become a certified coach. There's the QR code. We do have more slides, so don't hang up yet, because now we're going to get into the the advisory tidbits of it that pulls out. But the next cohort does start Tuesday, September 16th, 4 to 5:30 Eastern or 1 to 2:30 Pacific. If you are interested and Tuesdays are a no-go, reach out to me. Let me know, because the next one that's happening after that, if we've got enough requests for a certain day or a certain time frame, we're going to work around that. So if you're interested and this just absolutely doesn't work, just let us know. It's 10-week training, live and recorded. The certification fee is $29.90. The annual recertification fee is $290. And for Canada, it is eligible for professional development credits, but not for the US. At this stage, we are looking into that to seeing how we can do that. But right now, it's Canada only. So there's the QR code. Sandra, would you mind just grabbing, and I think it should be on the bookkeepersbootcamp.ca/cashflow canvas link. Can you just throw that up again, please? So now we're going to get into the advisory tidbits that I was making note as I went through with my alpha group, and where this can go, just to give you guys an idea. So we've got the pricing strategy and marketing clarity. So the weighted pricing strategy reveals more than just what to charge. It identifies ideal clients, uncovers value props, and becomes the foundation of a marketing plan, an actual, implementable marketing plan. And it supports advisory conversations around sales, branding, and website messaging. That's just from 1 week that you can then build that with clients. Team week, we actually came up with a cultural hiring toolkit that can be something that, again, you guys can sell to clients, use as advisory. When we were going through that, the personal and payroll sections, it evolved into a hiring snapshot And we turned that into a polished document to showcase pay structures, benefits, and company cultures. And then we came up with the idea that they can send them to current staff and said, well, we're not hiring now, but if you know anybody interested, here's like, so, here's all the benefits. So it sparks internal referrals and it deepens loyalty because maybe there's something that you've decided to offer that they've forgotten about, that they're like, oh yeah, I forgot we get free coffee or free donuts all of the time or whatnot. So we get to help break it down and get to really deepen the loyalty of existing clients. Their existing team members, again, hopefully spark some internal referrals for when they are hiring. And so the clear culture forward message, it reduces recruiting costs and boosts retention and morale. And it also helps that client really understand. And so somebody was on the call, one of my small business owners was, again, they were on my alpha call and they hire minimum wage. That's it. Guess what? They've changed it. When they realized, when we went through and said, you need to budget because of your turnover, here's what you're paying on recruiting and training. And guess what? The 3 months it takes to train somebody, you're paying somebody just to watch, and you're paying somebody that's a senior to work at half capacity because of that. And so this person has now gone and increased what they're offering. They've increased their minimum or their wages, their starting wages, and they've increased what they offer as benefits because they've realized it's cheaper, way cheaper to retain than it is to hire new. So again, this turns into advisory. Big picture, bigger impact. So now these insights helps that founder and small business owner realize the long-term return on investment for their intentional culture, team happiness, and sustainable growth. And it positions you as the bookkeeper or accountant, mostly bookkeepers because accountants are used to being positioned there, but as an essential strategic partner in their success. And I guarantee you, they're not going to look for business coaches when they realize you have all of this knowledge to offer it and you've not had to sell yourself because this does it for you just by walking them through. So it's very cool. So when again, as we were going through additional advisory opportunities that were hidden in plain sight that I found, so the Cashflow Canvas isn't just about money. It's a mirror that reflects what the business needs next. That's where we come in. So that was actually a quote from one of the people that just went through the certification. We do a fixed cost review and operational efficiency. It goes through that just naturally in the 10 hours that we're working with them. We identify waste in subscriptions, tech tools, admin costs. We then offer a cost cleanup or lean operations reviews. We can recommend streamlined apps or virtual support solutions because we're now seeing a little bit more in the detail, and we're having a conversation instead of saying, oh, I see this in the books, I need to try to remember to talk to them. And by the time you actually get them 3 weeks down the road, you've completely forgotten about it, or you email them and they don't pay attention, right? Um, excuse me, the forecast week, we get into strategic planning and decision accountability coaching is where that could go. So you can start deliver rolling forecasts, what if scenario planning, help the founders explore their growth safely with new hires, new product launches and scaling, and then transition into quarterly financial planning sessions. The revenue streams you can offer, offer some model strategies as well. They're the way that they offer their offerings, a model strategy. So highlight low margin or unscalable services. We went through with one of them who realized they just need to get this off the shelf. It is costing them more to keep it than it is. They were selling it. It was one of the higher sellers, but when they included all the direct cost in it, they realized it's actually the lowest net seller. It might have been the highest gross, but it's the lowest net. So we can get into that. We can then lead product profitability reviews with our clients, offer repackaging guidance, and help define their recurring revenue or membership models. It looks like I've got a little bit of duplication there, but now your metrics and KPIs. Now we're accountability coaching. We can go beyond revenue expenses and help define founder aligned KPIs for them. Build and review custom dashboards and simple monthly check ins and keep them focused with quarterly goal coaching. their energy and their vision, lifestyles and value-based advisory, they'll start to share and share with you, and you'll learn about their burnout, their overwhelm, or their dreams, that'll help you guide deeper support. You can offer a business life alignment coaching or capacity check-ins. As bookkeepers, we do that anyway. Through COVID, every single one of us did that. We just didn't realize we were doing that. When I talked to my clients through COVID, the first thing I did, first 20 minutes of the call, I just let them vent. I said, "How are you doing? Forget the business. How are you?" And I just let them vent and get it off. That is going to lead to certain things. And, so this isn't necessarily getting into life coachment or life coaching, but it is a business life alignment coaching. Again, or the capacity check-in. And that you can help them design a business that supports their life, not a life that supports their business. Oh, again, there's that. And then every budget uncovers a bigger conversation. And our job is to lead that conversation. That's it. It all unveils itself naturally. Ripple effect, and then we'll stop again for some questions, but a ripple effect from Canvas to advisory. Again, this is each of the weeks and kind of the advisory opportunities in a different way for those of us who look a little differently. Pricing strategy week, we can build marketing plans, define ideal clients, and develop value-based sales messaging. The owner pay, reverse engineer their income goals, create draw plans to support profit first style systems. Their fixed costs, optimize their subscriptions, recommend app stops, streamline operations, forecasting or budget, again, the rollover, the what if planning. Revenue streams, evaluate their margins, refine their offers, and see if you can come up with, develop scalable income models for them. Team and personnel, again, create hiring packages, culture documents, referral friendly job snapshots, KPI metrics, monthly check-ins, dashboard reviews, goal tracking and accountability support, and founder lifestyle and goals is, again, their lifestyle alignment, capacity planning, burnout prevention, and values-based advisory. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to call on Nicole and Sandra, who have been through this, and ask you guys. So now that you've seen that laid out and you've been through it, Nicole, we'll go to you first. Is all of that stuff actually truly attainable very easily from it?
Yes, most definitely. And because you break it down a week at a time, you can absorb it better. So you're not going to be overwhelmed. You can focus on that 1 week task, and then you can master that. And then at the end, you have everything you need, and to present it to someone else, and then they'll get it and able to understand it better.
Absolutely. So then I'm just gonna, and this was not pre-planned to throw to ask Nicole questions. So goodness knows where this answer is gonna go. But that's the fun of working live. So Nicole, you've got a background in education and management accounting. This is what you do. Is there anything through there that we either talked about on the weeks or I came up afterwards that you're like, yeah, I'm not offering that now, but I absolutely could?
Yes, yes. And after doing this, I was like, oh yeah, I should offer that because, when you're working in corporate America, we have, when you get hired, as part of the onboarding, we call it moments with finance, where I just go through, your W-2 and why you shouldn't claim 20 exemptions and
Yeah.
how to submit and process your expense report, and, submitting a request for, capital order request for the so I do that whole thing. But then every year I have to meet with all the executives for their budgets. And they, and then I try to explain to them their budgets and why they can't get everything. And then, we present the whole financials, and you can tell that they have no idea
Right? Right?
what I'm saying or presenting. They're like, well, I just do sales. It's like, okay, but you still need to know this because this is how you get your budget and get the money you request. So that's why I said I can probably take this and do it, take chunks of it to go over that with the people outside of the finance department, so that when we do our budget and forecasting meetings, they're not looking at me like, what?
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
No,
So
awesome.
yeah, I'm looking forward to to getting certified and be able to present this and roll this out. And then some of the things I was doing, and I had stop throwing in the advisory for free because I'm giving, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start charging for this. I'm just giving away all kind of milk.
Absolutely. And you know what? I
Yeah,
have to say, like, thank you for sharing that because as a
yeah,
bookkeeper, we do it all the time, but we feel accountants don't because it's kind of like, we joke all the time that, you know what, accountants, there's a secret course that you guys take on, on confidence. So it's good to know. So thank you for sharing that. But it's also good to know that again, that's a big takeaway.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. So thank you. And that you answered kind of how I was hoping you would answer. This could backfire, but hey,
Yeah, it's like,
live on
you're
the edge.
just, you're giving away stuff for free that everyone else would charge for, and it's like, that's true. I am. I feel bad, because you feel guilty. That's what it is.
Yes. Yep.
You feel guilty, but then at the end of the day, it's like, well, I have bills to pay too. What am I doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think this provides more of a structure that
Yes.
you can say instead of giving the milk away for free, that you kind of do every single call, you drop little bits. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, I just gave him 4 liters of milk, right?
Yeah.
That this actually helps you put it into a structure to plan. Yeah, that's awesome. And
Yes.
Sandra, so yeah, so let's take it. So yes, your role is a little bit different. So for those who don't know, Sandra does work for me. We are trying to get her so that she can be the me so that we can do all kinds of things. And she's been with me 8 years. But she's not, she is definitely a part of the decision making. But she's somewhere between senior bookkeeper and firm owner. She's still in between there. So, but Sandra, from the work that you do and that you're comfortable doing and, get your marketing mind going, yeah, like, was there things that you could clearly see when you went through this that you're like, yes, we can absolutely do that and offer this to this client and that client would take that and that's how we can do value?
Oh, absolutely, right? Because like even as going through the certification, um, basically when you go through, I think you guys will do it a little bit differently, but we actually had a practice company. So mine was prefab, and I've never worked with prefab. I've never done anything like that. But as we were sketching things out and as I was pulling the information in, from using ChatGPT or Perplexity and pulling it all together, it was just really, really, really simple and very easy to kind of be able to like sketch it out, which is kind of what you do. And then you kind of load it into a palette, and then you can see from there where you may need to up your sales or how you can pay off debt quicker, and being able to give those tools to some of our clients who we work with is going to be absolutely amazing because I love being able to teach others and seeing and just being able to see how that will affect them going forward, and what really will become of it all. So it
Yeah,
was quite amazing.
absolutely. So yeah, Sandra works more with the existing clients because the flow is once we've got them into a flow, I jump in at year ends or if there's, fires that need to be put out. So I will be focusing on the marketing and the training of non-clients for this, whereas Sandra will focus, at least to start with, on the client standpoint. So Richard, I'm just going to ask you then. So you've seen a little bit of this. Otherwise, you've heard my excitement on this, and now you've seen a little bit of it. Less excited and actual. In fact, as a coach and somebody who works with the bookkeepers, and accounting professionals, like, what's your thoughts on all of this, where it can go?
I think it's up to the individual. The possibilities are endless. There's so many paths forward to advisory. There are so many paths forward for creating new service lines in your company that are going to benefit the client. It's the reality is we all try to get into that world, and many people just have no idea where to start. And I think this is a great framework for where to start, and it's formalized so that you don't have to create the wheel from scratch.
Exactly.
That's what I think about it. I think it's a brilliant head start for anybody that wants to not only help the businesses that they serve, but to get into a new service line themselves.
Well, and that's exactly why I said to Tanya, I didn't even give Poor Tanya. Thank goodness we have history and she knows me well enough. I didn't even give her a choice. I just said, we are taking this to the accounting, to the accounting industry, and I'm going to be your partner. And then I threw it at her, said, and Richard's my partner. So now we're going to do this. And I've got all of these plans. I've said, just don't worry. I just don't want to overwhelm you. I will get your approval bit by bit as we go. But it's huge because for me, again, like Richard, like you said, that we don't know where to start. I was that person. I had great plans, but I am not a salesperson. So I would get clients in and I would work with some tools that I got from Jeannie or from whatever. And it was great. We would work through and I would say, I'm going to give you 3 months free. I'm going to do an alpha project. And everybody got an alpha project. I said, I'm going to do 3 months free, but please come in and I want your feedback. And then afterwards, the problem was I didn't feel confident enough to follow up and ask for the sale, essentially. So they walked away with a bunch of free stuff. I didn't feel comfortable asking. And I also don't feel that in any of the other tools I've used, I really showcased my knowledge as well as I could have, where this breaks it down on everything. And like I say, those slides that you guys saw, that was me frantically writing during the 10-week cohort that Nicole was in with all of these great ideas that came up just as they came up. And that's just the start of it. And I didn't feel comfortable. Now, we don't have to ask for the sale. It naturally comes up.
And I
Naturally
will
comes up.
bet a dollar that many times the client is asking for the sale.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. The small business owners that have been in this, like I say, I've now launched and I've got people paying for this one. But yeah, it's the value of people. Well, it's one person that went through the free one. Again, my alpha, who is a small business owner, part of my business networking group. I said again, please come in. I needed to find my footing. And if I'm gonna muck up and mess up, I want it to be people I'm comfortable with. So even in this one, I still have people I'm comfortable with, but she is the one who got me in touch with the advisory board coach.
Nice.
She said, this is perfect for my advisory board. And that coach is saying, you know what? If this person is giving it a thumbs up, that's good enough for me. We'll do one. And then again, she's got 20 that are all spanning from one person. So, when I'm picking the people I'm bringing in for my free, my alphas and betas, I'm strategically picking people I'm comfortable with and people who I think, might be. Now, I didn't realize she worked with an advisory board because she's a DIY client, but she's part of my networking group. So you just never know,
Yeah.
but it's huge. This one thing, I could end up with, I mean, if I charged full price, even if I gave them 30% discount off it, so 60 times each advisory board has minimum 6 people times 20. If I got into all of them, now I sound like the guy with the hem in the pants, but this one lead has a potential of, even if we do 50%, so 20 advisory boards, so we'll go 50%. We only get 10 of them, or only half of the people show up. That is still revenue of $39,600 potential from one person. Now, let's say I only get a quarter of that because not as many people see it. But again, advisory boards, this is what they're there for. I think there's a potential. If we got all 6 people per advisory board for all 20 advisory boards, that's just shy of $80,000 from one referral. And again, we get 25%, we get 10%, whatever. Let's be more realistic. I just need more people to talk about it, right? So anyway, sorry, bring down my excitement. I don't see any questions, but yeah, that's pretty much, I've just got only a couple more slides left, so we'll just go back to them. Here we are. Okay, so this is what we've been talking about. Advisory is already built in. You just need to show them what they see. That's it. So for certified coaches, you position yourself as a strategic partner, not just a budget builder. You build advisory services organically, no pushy sales needed, and every Canvas insight can be turned into a billing deliverable or a coaching retainer. For founders, you're going to help them gain clarity on their numbers and what they need to do with them, help them align money decisions with their values, goals, and growth plans, and experience a deeper, longer lasting impact better than any spreadsheet alone could offer. And yes, we're working with a spreadsheet. So here's some things of what the accountants are saying. We know how to talk to CFOs. The Cashflow Canvas taught us how to talk to founders. It's going from complex to clear. So many accountants are highly trained in financial strategy, but like Nicole said, they're relating to CFOs who've got the same training. They're relating to people who talk accountanese, and they find it difficult to talk to the small business owner who has zero background. They're like, yeah, I think I took a week of finance in high school, right? Like that's the average small business owner. So, so again, what they're saying is it helped me simplify how I talk about forecasting and budgeting. It gave me a structure that works in real conversations, not reports. And I finally feel like I can explain financial concepts without losing people. And the impact is stronger engagement from founders, better decision making from clients, more rewarding, value aligned client relationships, and confidence in moving from a data provider to a strategic guide. Because let's face it, with COVID happening, everybody working from home, more people moving to online, a lot of accountants who were not already doing this, and Nicole, you'll probably agree with this, a lot of accountants have found themselves going more back into the transactional role and not doing this. So what are they doing? You're offering bookkeeping. Well, you know what? Now there's fights between the bookkeepers and the accountants. And of course, the bookkeeping, unless you've got the CMA background, the bookkeeping is high level oversight, might not be, in the detail. So this is another way to be able to offer it without getting into the bookkeeping and pushing it out overseas or any of that other stuff, because at the end of the day, even accountants know garbage in, garbage out, right? So if the details that are going in are not proper, it's going to be the same type of thing. So, what are the bookkeepers saying? The Cashflow Canvas gave me the confidence to step beyond compliance and speak the language of strategy. So many bookkeepers were the backbone of the client's finances, yet we often feel stuck on the compliance side of the conversation. The Cashflow Canvas will give us a structure, a voice, and the confidence to bridge into management, accounting, and advisory roles. So, what some bookkeepers have said to me, it gave me a roadmap to start real conversations with clients about growth. This made advisory feel doable and even fun. And I finally feel like the strategic partner I've always wanted to be. That last one was really impactful to hear that. So, the impact on that is increased confidence in leading the strategic conversations, stronger client relationships and long term loyalty, more meaningful, higher value services, and empowerment to step into a true advisory role. So it's not about teaching budgeting. It equips bookkeepers to lead confidently, strategically, and authentically. Now, I want to point out too that I think most of us know that it's easier to increase the cost that an existing client is paying versus getting a new client. But how do we convince them it's right? This is an easy way on that. So, just last slide, what small business owners or founders are saying. I finally understand where my money is going and what to do about it. So, they've gone from overwhelmed to empowered because they don't have our financial background. They're deeply and passionately invested in their business. Again, they do what they do because they love it. But when it comes to the finances, they feel anxious, head in the sand like an ostrich, or even embarrassed about their numbers. I've talked to many people that have put it off until the government is forcing them, and it's because they're embarrassed to talk about it. So the Cashflow Canvas changes it. And so what some of the small business owners are saying is this is the first time my finances actually make sense to me. I feel more in control and less afraid to look at my numbers. I know how much I need to pay myself and how to plan for it. And it helped me see where I was overspending without judgment. Again, that last one was huge to hear. So it's given them, more confidence in the relationships, greater confidence in the hiring, investing, growing, greater confidence in their business decisions. So that is the cash flow canvas in a nutshell. Let me just see if there was any chat. No, that was just Richard going. So, excuse me, I don't see any questions from our guests. So if there is anything, please come in. But I know Richard, Sandra, Nicole, was there anything that I hadn't covered?
No, not at all.
Okay. Look at that. And we booked for 90 minutes and we got 8 minutes left. And wow.
Look at us. And you finished the last
Yay!
session 8 minutes early too.
I did. Okay, well, that's awesome. I will send the recording out for those who didn't make it or those who did make it and were kind of doing a few things or had to drop off because something came up. The recording will go out. We will place it up in Roundtable as well, too, for Roundtablers to be able to see. And yeah, if there's any questions, just reach out. So I will stop the recording now.